Hi, and welcome to the Sacred You podcast, where we create sacred community together. I'm Rachel Goodwin, channel healer and author who loves to empower you on your spiritual path. I offer original and new ways, and my work with Sarah, daughter of the Magdalene, and with the New Earth is pioneering and leading edge. If you're ready to burst through to the next level, come over to my website, rachelgoodwin.dk, and see all the amazing things that I have to offer you.
Pikoi kahimanaho ikahapili koluaia Eia ke kaula lo pihana e kopu kapaliliai Haina mai kapuana e kaliko puokukui.
So how are you?
I'm so good. So much has happened. It's so good to be with you in this way. How are you?
Well, I thought we could start our own chat show, Jeremiah.
Let's do it.
The Rachel and Jeremiah show.
With special light being guests.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's been so long since we.
I know.
Oh.
The universe has kept us apart, but no longer.
It has been pretty crazy this end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Well, yeah. I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, I'm still quite tired from all the ups and downs of things that have been happening, but you know, I have to say I have been pulling on Sarah very, very much all of the time. And yeah, I've actually got a whole day to myself tomorrow and this evening. Yeah, which just never happens. I can't remember the last time this happened because hubby has gone off to see his mum who lives the other end of Denmark. And Benji's in his respite care this weekend. So I'm painting my drum tomorrow with my runes.
Oh, how special.
Yeah. I've wanted to do that for 2 years now. I've been talking about doing it for 2 years. And it's just never a moment. But God, I have to admit, I mean, because you know, obviously, like during the day, there's not people here because when I'm working, on the whole, unless it's COVID and everything's shut down. But apart from that, but it's just like I just been noticing how peaceful it is this evening. That it's just me, and there's no one around. It's just my nervous system is just like.
Isn't that lovely?
It's so lovely. I'd forgotten how nice it was. It's good my husband doesn't listen to this. He'll be getting worried that I'm trying to find ways of getting rid of him. But it's so nice. I thought it might feel a bit strange, but no.
You and I are a lot alike in that way, that I think there's just a lot to be gained by having some time alone in some peace and quiet, and that just spending time with our own thoughts and energy body and physical body, it's just so healing.
It is. And peaceful.
Peaceful. Oh.
But I'm so excited to hear about Saintes-Maries-de-la-Mer.
Wow, what a place. The beginning of this year, I felt the tug to go there, to be there for Sarah's feast day on the 24th of May. And it's that kind of thing where you feel the tug, you feel the guidance, but you don't know how it's going to work out. And can it work out? It was like a total kind of just dream in the sky. And then my husband's birthday is the 19th of May, and his family's all in the UK, and we haven't been there since before the pandemic. So we were there to celebrate his birthday, and it just worked out that I could pop over to France for Sarah's feast day, and then also take a week to just do a proper pilgrimage, and went to a lot of the Magdalene sites, which has been huge in my heart for a long time. And I just, this is the first I've done a Magdalene pilgrimage before, but I wasn't quite as in tune as I am now. And so to just go on a pilgrimage when you're, just in it, you're just in love with your spiritual life, and you're just doing all the things, and it was beautiful. But yes, Sarah's feast day and being in that village was just beyond my expectations. It's a beautiful, beautiful village right by the sea. And of course, she's the patron saint of the traveling people, and they're there in mass, and they bring their instruments and their energy, and it's so special. And so I couldn't wait to get to the church. This is the day before her feast day. I just needed to go into that crypt to be with her. And thankfully, there wasn't a long line, and I actually got in the line 3 times. I needed to see her 3 times. And just as all of us that love her so much would expect, like, I was shaking, I was like tears in my eyes, and her statue is a lot smaller than I imagined, but that doesn't matter. Just the energy, though, like waiting in line and seeing these people that have been, and all of us who have been honoring her through centuries, to feel that honor in this one place was so powerful. And the love and the respect that people have for her, you just got lost in. I got lost in that. And it was beautiful. And to see all the offerings that people place on her, all the rosaries, all of the capes, the garments. And then there's just all around her paintings and other offerings. And the other thing I didn't expect is the amount of candles, and it's a small crypt and it's hot. So that also created its own magic. You're just in this heat with her. And it was just otherworldly. And then we came out and sat in the church, and the church is amazing too. Just so much, of course, dedicated to Mary Salome and Mary Jacobi. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And just sitting in that church was so powerful. And then I went to walk up to where sort of the back of the church where like some altars were, and there was some priests there, and I felt this like, oh no, I'm not allowed to go there. I'm not allowed to go there. And that was weird for me to have this feeling. And then I sat back, and I'll just fast forward in the story for this point of the story right now. The next day I did go up there, and it was after she had been taken out of the crypt, and I just felt her saying, like, listen, I get it. It's ridiculous that I'm kept in this crypt, but you have to forgive them. You have to forgive them for keeping me down here. I mean, this is my processing of this. And you have the right to be anywhere in this church. You are divine, you are worthy, you are holy, you belong here. And I get it that you're feeling defensive for me and for all of those who have been excluded, but that's also what she represents for us, right? And for so many. And she holds that energy and that love. So the next day was the actual feast day, and I knew it was going to be craziness, but lots of energy, lots of people, and it doesn't start until the afternoon. So in the morning, we took our time shopping. One of my dear friends came with me, so we were, shopping. There's so much Sarah stuff. It's so hard to find, but like candles, necklaces, charms, anything you want. It's so exciting to just like, as a Sarah fan, you get to just, fill up your shopping bags. And then I needed to swim in the sea, and that was just so good to just to feel like, wow, this is where things happened, like where all the Marys, Mary Magdalene, where they all arrived, and just I love the stories of her walking on the water from the boats. So I just really kind of was having visions of that and just enjoying that magic. And then to be in the church, we almost didn't get in during the ceremony where they're honoring her and bringing her out of the crypt. That was just beyond. I didn't know that she has her own hymn, and they sing to her in the Marys, and it goes. You love chants, so it was going over and over the whole day. So you just get into this other state of being. And then when her statue finally came up out of the crypt, and they had put her in a white cape with red Magdalene roses, I lost it with, you're just like, are you kidding me? How beautiful. And then just the love and the candles and people wanting to be close to her and to touch her. And it's us being close to our own, it's this mirroring that she does for us, being close to our own hearts and our own divinity. And then we were determined to be part of her procession. And so we got in front of her so that we could everyone is so welcoming. It's a bit chaotic, and there are 2 horses that lead the way, and then there are some people with some, of course, banners announcing her, and people sing and chant and through the whole thing, and it's beautiful, and they take their time, and the crowds are overflowing, and the sky was this kind of cloudy but very beautiful blue. And just to be with all these, because as you know, if you're a you love Sarah, and you just feel like you're the only one where you are who love her, to be in a place where thousands love her, it's just like, what is happening? And then of course we walk into the sea with her, and they to honor her arrival, and to honor all the stories and legends around her. And I was wondering how they would do it, but they splashed the water up onto her, and then they return. And at that point I was exhausted. I'm like, we're not going back with her. We can come see her tomorrow on our way out. But I think we all experience Sarah in our energy systems and our physical bodies in different ways. And I'd always felt her in a certain place. But by going and being there with her, I experience her now in a different place, and it activated something else within me. I feel her differently in my body, and there's just this different level of tenderness and love. And I think when you're in these places that are, I'm sure that church is built on an energy center. You can, all of that, you're just by being there, you transform. And that's what it was, a transformation and a huge gift.
Oh, wow. What an amazing experience. So is that it's a Catholic church that
Yes.
she's in? What's the name of it?
Oh, it's Our Lady of the Sea, I believe.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing. So, yeah, because I know that she's kept in the crypt, because I've read about it, but, I haven't ever been called to go there. I've sort of been waiting for it. But so far it hasn't happened. But I will go one day, even if they don't call me. I will go one day. And yeah, I totally get what you're saying about, how she's hidden. She's hidden. Although she's allowed to be there because she's not a Catholic saint.
Right.
So that's quite wild that they're even, because the Catholic Church is not known for its tolerance of things that are not, as far as I, understand it, of things that aren't Catholic. So I think that's really magical that they've kept her in the crypt. And of course, that exclusion stuff aside, that connection with the deep, dark earth, it's just so divine, feminine, and that's so magical, because there was a spring there. In ancient times, there has been sacred places there for millennia. Mithras, the bull god, he had a temple there, and my memory's so bad. There was a female goddess there as well, and the 3 matronae. I mean, there's just been temples and shrines there. I don't know what's happened to the spring, if it's dried up or gone away, but it's such a sacred place, and that it's now Sarah's and the Marys is just, there's just so many levels of gorgeousness in that. But that thing you said about feeling her in a different way. So I can't remember when you sent me that video. I think it was the day before, on the 23rd.
Yes.
So Jeremiah sent me a video of him going up to Sarah and putting his hand on her. And I just cried. I mean, I just burst into tears when I saw that, because just the love and the honouring in that gesture, it was just so there. And all the beautiful scarves around her and the beads and all of that, it was like she was just radiating being honoured and being loved, and it was just incredible. And as I told you, I was having an operation the next day, and when I booked it, I did not realise it was going to be on Sarah's feast day, because I had to try and fit it in around my brother's funeral. I was actually delaying it until I got back, but I wanted to have it as soon as possible, because I needed to have this operation. And it's an operation I had last year, and it failed, and it was horrendous. It was just like an hour of like horrible under local anaesthetic, and it was just really and I was really dreading going through it again. Although I was trying to be more positive about it this time, and I was asking everyone for healing and everything, because last time I tried not to think about it until the last minute, and then it didn't go very well. So this time I was trying to do something different, and then I saw your video, and I thought, oh my God, it's Sarah's feast day tomorrow, and just sort of in that moment it occurred to me that was actually deeply significant for me.
Yes.
And felt that it was her eyes. I mean, I know it's a statue. It was her eyes. They were just so like, I'm with you. Pray to me. I'll help you. Look, I'm here. And I'd never, just the energy that came through, I've never experienced it in that way, on that level, from her. And it was just beautiful, Jeremiah. I mean, I'm so grateful that you sent me that video. I think I had the same activation that you did. I think it came through on that video. And the next day, because I found myself a new surgeon, because the last place I went to was just awful. And I found myself a new surgeon, and they were lovely. They were just, as much as it was awful the last time, they just made it so like as lovely for me as they possibly could. And all the time I'm just thinking, Sarah's with me. Sarah's with me, and like, feeling loved and crying at the same time. It was really, really something.
I'll have to post it in the Sarah groups so that
yeah, do that.
And you really you got it. You got exactly what it was. I love it. I love how that energy can come through a video or a picture, and yep, that was it. There is.
Yeah.
I remember that one of the times I cycled through to see her, I like got down because I'm taller than her, and like I had to look into those eyes because they're just. I don't know what it is. Like you said, that statue is just the most powerful statue I've ever been around.
It's really something. It is really something. And yeah, I can't imagine what it must be like to be there with so many people, like with this incredible reverence for Sarah, because, I'm used to the complete opposite of people like
Right.
going, what? What are you talking about? Who?
Exactly.
And just really, really dismissing and really dissing it, basically.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it was such a dream come true to be with like your people in a way, and everyone was so welcoming, and just the joy and the reverence. The reverence. I feel like growing up in the States, from my experience, has you don't feel that reverence towards things so much, and my family was of Portuguese heritage, and there's a bit of that, left in our Portuguese communities and our religious festivals. But it wasn't until I started going back to the Azores and experiencing those same festivals there that you understood where that devotion came from, the homeland of its inception. And I think that's exactly what I was able to tap into there, is that devotion that's been happening for so long creates its own sort of vortex, and to step into that was, like I said, just something transformational.
Yeah. And like it's been happening for a long time on the same day every year.
Right.
And then before that, there's been sacred ceremonies, like, we were saying, going back for until who knows when. So it's such a powerful place. I can imagine it's just incredible to be
Yes.
there.
And I cannot wait to go maybe on a different time where it's not the feast day. So to just take in the village a bit more and be at the sea a bit more and sit with her a bit more, not feeling like you can't take too much time, because others are waiting. And then also on another note, I would be so curious to know her outfits and her things, they change, and each day I went, it was different, and her jewelry changes, and who takes care of her, and that's fascinating to me. And I just also want to give so much gratitude, because you can feel the love and devotion to whoever is taking care of her in that way. And I love that. I love that there is someone or a team looking after her, what she's wearing and how she's adorned.
Yeah, I have read there are a lot more foreigners going now, and I was wondering how, they are feeling about sort of a new wave of people coming in. But it sounds like you felt very welcomed and accepted there.
Yes. I think maybe since the majority of the population that are honoring her are of the traveling people, and they're used to traveling, and I think there is this sort of kind of everyone is sort of welcome kind of vibe, and I really appreciated that. And just the music in the streets and the music in the restaurants, it just had that vibe of let's all just be together. So of course I don't speak French well enough to have interacted with them in a more deeper way, or to anyone around me beyond my friend and the energies, but energetically it felt really lovely.
Well, one day, I don't know if I would ever make it to that festival though, because I'm not great in large groups of people. I get really overwhelmed with the energy, and I'd have to really, really be in a place of surrender to cope. But I'm not saying it could never happen, but yeah. We'll see what life throws me. Wow. I've got a pencil here. I don't know where this has come from, but it's got Roma written on it.
Well, that's the Roma people. How perfect is that?
Isn't that strange? Aldrovandi Palace. That must be from Rome. I've no idea why that's in the house, because it's not like any of us have been travelling recently. So how strange. It's a
Wow.
sign.
It's a sign. It's a sign. I love it. Oh, yes.
Wow.
So special. So special. And all of the Magdalene places, I just encourage anyone to go to the cave that she is said to have lived in for the last 30 years of her life. That cave has been kept for the past 1,000 years by different Catholic orders, but of course, so it's just, and also the forests around there have been protected by the kings of France. So there's just, and I know there's lots of druid connect energy out there, and you could just, I mean, I saw them, I felt them, and just again another special place. And what was cool is, I was in her cave. We went twice actually because it was such a special energy, and I connected with Mary Magdalene on the inner planes, and she was like, don't seek me out here. Be here in the cave. Be here. There's a magic here. She's like, I'm with you all the time. You can connect with me anywhere, anytime, but you connect here in this cave. And then I'm like, okay, this is about, she's like, I chose to live here for a reason. There is magic here. There's energy here. There's an anchoring of something here. And then Sarah came and took my hands, and she's like, trust me, don't be afraid. I'm like, I'm afraid of the dark. We're going deeper, into the darkness of the cave. And they both then left me, and I was all alone, and it became my own initiation with the cave and with my own being and my own heart. And that I think was amazing. Like, you go to seek these ascended masters, but then they lead you to these places on the planet that are meant to teach you. And that happens in Rennes-le-Château, and that happened where else? In her basilica. So anywhere I went, it was like, it was like a little welcoming team of light beings, and they're like, okay, now be here.
Oh, that's just mad. I love France. I love France so much. And I was talking to my husband about it recently, because when I was a kid, I grew up on the Kent coast in a little town called Deal, which is just down the road from Dover and Folkestone, which are both ports to France. And my dad was an engineer for Sea Link, which was the English boats that sail between England and France. And every year we went on holiday to France. And, the town where I grew up, the beach, you could see France on a clear day. So I thought France was just, there in my life for the rest of my life. And it's been quite a shock now that I haven't been there for such a long time. But my dad read the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail back in the 80s, and he was not a religious man at all. He was a really confirmed non-God believer, and used to say, oh, religions cause wars, and he was very sort of anti any religion. But that really, really caught him, that book. And he took us off to Rennes-le-Château in 1985 when I was 15. And I was, also a rationalist, because I was raised to be a rationalist. And it was such a bizarre experience for me. We went to one of the Cathar castles. I think it might have been Montsegur, but I'm not sure. And I started crying. I was walking around this ruin, and I felt myself getting taller, and I felt my back getting straighter. Like I was a different person. And I went and looked out of this archway window, and I just started sobbing my heart out. And I just thought I was losing it. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
I'm going mad. But then I found this book at home. We used to have an old bookshelf full of books on the landing. There was a second-hand book there that my dad, again, had picked up about reincarnation. And the first story was about the Cathars.
Oh, wow.
And I read it and I thought, and I just knew, oh, this is true. We reincarnate. It was just like, it was so obvious to me that it was true, you know.
Right.
And I thought, oh, that must be what happened. That's what happened to me. But I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it very much. But yeah, my dad was really, really fascinated with that font, with the devil
Oh,
on that
yes.
font.
Yes.
He was really like, why would they do that? And then I went back many years later. When was it? I can't try and remember if it was before my eldest son was born, but I went out there with a group of priestesses. So something like, I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. And it was wild to go back then as a spiritually awakened
Yes.
person. And just incredible to have that experience out there. And I went into that little church in Rennes-le-Château and I kneeled down at the altar and I went into a trance. I went into this really, really deep state of trance and I didn't move for about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And this energy came up from the earth, not from the sky,
Yes.
from the earth, and it moved all the way through me. And I think that was the beginning of my Sar'h ministry happened.
That's
at that
gorgeous.
point. Yeah.
My friend and I in that very church had a very deep healing that sort of, you know, when you can work with your past lives, but then they fuse into your current life. And so it starts to blend of what life were you healing, but it doesn't matter. And very powerful. And I was able to release a lot of just stuff that was stuck in myself as well. So I very much relate to your experience, and also so much, you know, you have this perception, maybe I had this perception of a pilgrimage and these sacred sites being just this downloads of like angelic happiness and light. But honestly, the whole trip was, and it reminds me so much of Sarah, and that's, I guess we're always invoking her, but, and I've learned this from you as well, as, you know, it's the portal is in your, you know, in the uncomfortability, whatever that word is, in the rawness and the insecurity and the weakness that you perceive. That is, and these little human things, that is what the pilgrimage brought out in me. And it was like each layer, okay, I need to face this and love it and release it or nurture it. So it was, yes, the angels and the choirs were there, but it wasn't about that. It was about being in these places to really embrace ourselves as the God beings that they are. One little weakness or insecurity at a time.
I love caves. I love caves so much. I want to live in a cave.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I will be in the next door cave next to you.
Where is that cave? What region is it in? The cave you went to?
Yes, that's, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Saint-Baume.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a little bit away from her basilica, the one that has her skull, or was said to be her skull, and it's such a beautiful. There's a hostel that's dedicated to her. That's just in the valley in front of her cave, and we stayed there. And again, it was like Magdalene Disneyland. Like, you walk in and there's a chapel devoted to her, there's art for her everywhere, there's statues, and then the emails you receive from the hotel all say, you know, they sign their emails in the blessings of Mary Magdalene. So you're just steeped in it. In my room, I could open the windows and see her cave. At night, I could see the lights, you know, and you could hear the bells from the mass. And we sat through mass there, not intentionally, but the cantor or the priest, just to hear them sing, I'm sure he sounded very trained. Maybe he was trained through like a boys choir. He had that kind of that resonance in his voice, and he barely opened his mouth, and the cave was just full of the sound. It was just this beautiful, beautiful sound, and just to be in a place where, like I've been saying, where these people that we love are so honored, these energies are so honored. It's just, even though it's the Catholic Church and whatever, but it's still, there's just, feels good.
Yeah, I love the French so much for that they have loved the Magdalene for all these centuries so much. And yeah, I really, really love them for that.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. And one of the sort of visions I went on, I was shown, and I think this is important to say, because I think we're all of us in this community are of this lineage, and they showed me just the beginning of the Magdalene lineage, and that was sort of at the beginning of time, and what that sort of meant. And I want to be careful not to define it so much, because I want to respect everyone's feelings about that. But what I think the important thing that I was shown, it was that there have been the Magdalene presence all over the earth and the galaxy since the beginning of time. And it's just in our time period that Mary Magdalene and those characters are the story that we really, that they're the story that we get to enjoy, but the magic they did, other people have done all over. And this is, they get to be the archetypes for our time period, if you would like. And they have seeded what is happening now. So it was almost like, hey, it's awesome that you're giving us all this love and attention, and that's you need it. You need us, but also know that you are a Magdalene. You are Mary Magdalene, and there are Mary Magdalenes in every country, in every part of the world, doing the same work, and they have been doing this work, which for me is the work of the goddess, but it's not, it's not God and God versus goddess. It's just the work of the mysteries of the heart, the mysteries of, accepting who we are, and all that I was saying earlier, the love of our humanity, the portal of our physicality, and how magical that is. It's all of this. And they just gave me these deep teachings about it. So as we all expand in this Magdalene journey, I think it's just important that we all know that we're all a Magdalene, and we're all here to show this way, and to help balance what needs to be balanced, and to initiate others into the magic of the mysteries of the heart, and the mysteries of love and spirituality. And I think that has been so misunderstood, and now we get to write that.
Yeah. Because I was thinking earlier, because I was saying to you, like, I've called on Sarah so much the last few months, and I really, really have. I'm not just saying that because I'm teaching Sarah healing systems and Sarah priest. I'm not just saying that to sell it. I've done it because I was sort of down on my knees, crawling around, because life has been so challenging and hard, and I needed that help to keep me going. And I was thinking earlier, have I been over dependent? Is it a bit needy that I've had to call on her so much? And it was just so straight away, it was like, she is you.
Exactly.
And I mean that in the way of, like, so when I call on her, that energy that comes in, it brings up it, like what you've been saying, it brings up that echo inside of me, that is that energy, which is, it is Sarah, but it's really the archetype. Like you say, it's not about her personally. She's a face, and Mary Magdalene, they're a face for the energy that is behind that. And it's like, I am that. And yeah, it's really not a bad thing to keep calling her in. Do it more.
That's right. And do you feel like that I've been learning about this, that the harder things are, and if you allow your heart to sort of crack and open, do you feel like you're able to then receive more light, receive more of yourself, even in the challenging?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about Sarah that I love, is that she brings you what you need, because she has that light, which you could say is the divine masculine sun, and then she has that darkness, which you could say is the divine feminine earth. And whatever bit of it that you need, where you need balancing, she brings you that. And I mean, my mum died in 1996. I was 26, and again, it was a tragic death. She got misdiagnosed. Well, she had cervical cancer, and she had, a smear test, and it wasn't picked up. It was her test was there was a huge scandal about it at the time in different health authorities in the UK, but her test got returned as negative, and it wasn't. She was already really sick at that point. And so by the time she went back to her doctors with symptoms, she was so far advanced they couldn't really do much for her. And she was 59 when she died.
Wow.
Yeah. And that knowing of, if she'd have been treated earlier on, the success rates were very high. So she should have been there, and that knowing that she'd, been taken through an accident, a mistake, negligence, whatever way you want to think of it, was just that made it so much harder. And so when someone died, and she was the first person that I'd really been close to that had died. So it was the first time that I had experienced death that closely. And I just finished my training as a psychiatric nurse and was working on the wards, and I can remember being in the ward office and feeling like getting all like tightening around my throat and struggling to breathe. And I ran into the toilets and I looked at myself and I was like, oh my God, I was a trained psychiatric nurse. I used to give courses on anxiety and depression. I knew what was going on. I looked at myself going, I'm having a panic attack. Oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. And my mental health really, really suffered. And it's a bit of a thing in my family. I started getting really paranoid about people. And the problem is with paranoia is it really does seem real. Like the things you're thinking, you think they're actually true. It's not like being a bit depressed and you go, oh, I'm a bit down. You actually think that is what the world is looking like. And this is such an ancestral thing as well, because there's a big line of very poor Irish, descendants that had to leave Ireland because they were starving, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, and that whole sort of like trauma comes down, that I've sort of traced it energetically back to that. And I have felt touches of that coming back again because, Paul went missing for several weeks, my brother, and then he was found drowned. And, that was a lot of mental strain, that couple of weeks, 2 weeks and 2 days of not knowing where he was and what had happened, and not ever really being able to settle, because it was like I felt like I should keep doing something all the time, but then I couldn't actually do anything, but calling Sarah in all the time, and she then like brings me what I need, whether it's to rest and have the coolness or have some light and get some energy, she brings it in. She brings in, what's needed. And I mean, in my life, I've been initiated as a priestess of Sophia and a priestess of the goddess, and I've worked with different energies and systems and all the rest of it. But I have become a bit of an obsessive Sarah person now. I must admit.
Oh, Thank
Yeah.
God. Thank God you have. We need it. And I love that. And speaking of which, I mean, you had your book launch,
Yeah.
but your book's been out there. And how's that been feeling to just be on that side of the journey? And what's it been like to receive all the love around such a gorgeous, gorgeous book?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really amazing. So yeah, Paul went missing the night that the book went live on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they happened together. So he actually went first, from what we understand, what happened, because somehow he accidentally went in the water. He lived on a houseboat, and we're waiting to hear, because there's some real bad heart problems on because he's my half brother. And my half brothers and sisters, there's some real bad heart problems on their side of the family. So he might have had a heart attack and already, died before he went in. But we're still waiting on the results of that. But yeah, so there's something very sacred about that. I feel that he, and going into the River Stour as well. There's a whole history there. It's very close to the place where the Romans invaded Great Britain.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where he was actually found, was at that place, at Richborough. And I've been looking into the history of it, and there's a gateway there that they built. It's not there anymore. I suspect it's there energetically. But there was this gateway, and it was called the Gateway to Britain. It was four pillars, huge. I mean, absolutely huge. It was absolutely towering, and that was their like gateway to Britain. And the Romans were sacred geomancers. They built their towns, they built their roads, all according to sacred geometry, basically. So that gateway for them, that wasn't just oh, look at us, aren't we fantastic? It was an actual energy portal, and that Paul was found there is incredible. But the thing that is really, really incredible is that his father also died several hundred feet from that place.
That's fascinating.
I know. He was a steel worker when they were building Richborough Power Station, which is where Paul was found in the river, and he died in an accident there. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, speechless.
Yeah.
And then the timing with your book, it's just wow.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of ancestral work, a lot of, just being with it. And obviously I'm not trying to solve it all at once, because, it takes time and all the rest of it. But just, I am a sacred energy earth worker, so I'm going to look at it through those glasses, and, I'm sort of slowly unpicking it, because I can't see these things as a coincidence, that all these things have come together. I mean, it was the most significant place in the whole of Britain for the Romans. And there's nothing there now, really. There's just fields, so no one would think anything of it. There's a bit of a place where you can go and see the ruins of where the Romans were fighting off the Saxons, and you can see the road to London from there. You can see the straight line of it, but there's nothing really to speak of around there apart from fields. It's completely flat because it's like reclaimed land, it's that sort of marshy sort of look. But the whole thing's been really wild. But I got to sing at his funeral, Jeremiah.
Oh, what did that feel like?
Oh, I'm just so I'm a little bit ambivalent about it, because I'm really grateful that I could, and on the other hand, it's frustrating for me that as a culture we don't understand how important these things are. But we had like a humanitarian service for him, and I sang the Gayatri mantra, and I sang an Old Norse blessing, which felt really, really fitting for him, because Paul was really a man of the earth. He, went fishing, and he knew how to gut fish, and he knew how to go and get rabbits and skin and, cook rabbits. And, he had lots of friends. They were all like that. They were not people you would find on social media. They live on the land, and they live slightly outside of society. And, I really love and respect him for that. And I sang those songs for him and for our family, and for the trauma, and for the healing of the family. And the energy that came through, I mean, my voice was shaking, but partly the energy coming through was making my voice like really vibrato, which I can't sing vibrato because, I'm not really a trained singer. I've just done a few evening classes to learn how to breathe, and that's about it. But the energy coming through, it was really magical. And I'm so grateful that, I'm not in a family with a strict religion that wouldn't have allowed me to do that, because I can just get up and say, I said to everyone, I'm Paul's sister. I love singing sacred songs in ancient languages, and I'm going to sing this for you. And everyone just sort of looked at me like with a blank face. But then, I sang it, and they really loved it, and they didn't understand what I was singing about, but they got the energy of it. But, I still have the frustration of like, wouldn't it be fantastic if people understood and honoured this, like how people were honouring Sarah. But on the other hand, I'm grateful that no one's trying to burn me at the stake for doing it, or that I'm stopped from doing it, or that I had to go and do it quietly somewhere, because it was so powerful to stand in front of Paul's dead body and sing it to him and to the room. It was just, it was energetically incredible to be able to do that.
I think you've really connected to what my heart's desire in this connection to the Magdalene lineage is exactly what you did. Is exactly what you did, to be able to give to not only your brother, but to yourself, your ancestors, to the people in the room, to the earth. That is the song of healing. It's the song of life. It's a song of creation. It's the song of the God. It's everything. And I think that is the more that we can, those who feel called to this frequency, to do that when we can in a public place, with our friends and in our family, when for ourselves, for all those reasons. Just the ripple effect of what you did is just so potent. And so I just feel so many chills, and I just so much honor for you and for your family. That's so special.
Thank you. And it was so personally healing for me, because I'm like the little sister in the family. I'm the youngest, and it was their dad, my brothers and sister, it was their dad that died. And I was born into this family where this tragedy had happened. And then my mum had, some years later, remarried my dad and had me. And it was never spoken about, this tragedy. He was never spoken about. I didn't even know that they were my half brothers and sisters. The girl who lived across the street told me. So, and I always felt, obviously, like many of us, really empathic. I always felt this tragedy and repression and brokenness around me and couldn't do anything. And, I've been carrying that with me for years, that an inability to heal. And, in these times in my family, like I stood up and sang at my dad's funeral. He got a Hawaiian one, and that really suited his energy. And it's been like, for my inner child that grew up with all that tragedy, it's been just so healing for her, because it's like, see, I wasn't wrong. I knew there was something I was supposed to be doing, and yet I couldn't, and it just broke me, just absolutely broke me, that I couldn't, make things okay around me, so that it was all right for me and all right for everybody else,
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And I feel like, in my experience now that I'm doing more public sound healing, people are so hungry for it, and hungry for it's like they don't care that it's in another language, or if it's in light language. I mean, I just, the desire to connect in this energetic vibrational way is, I'm just blown away, because I carry that too when I start to do these sound healings, this fear of what wants to come through me and how I'm going to be perceived, and is it safe. And the more that I let go of that and really just see what people will respect the channel, you respect the channel of what wants to come through, and respect that that's what needs to come through, and then to see the healing and how it's affecting other people, what they're wanting. It's just, this is the time for us to finally heal from what we've done to hide ourselves, and to allow others to join in with us.
Yeah, and it's just such a beautiful thing to sing and dance in ceremony together at these important times.
Yes.
Birth, death, marriage, whatever. And it's not about having a fantastic voice, or
Correct.
being able to dance beautifully, or just put all that away. That's not what it's about. It's when we do these things, something magical happens, and it's really time for us to remember these things again. And like you say, like the Magdalene community holds that energy. We are doing these things. We're out there doing these things, whether in secret behind closed doors, or whether it's out, like we're bringing them into like our family, the outer family lives as well, so that normal inverted commas normal people are also being touched by it.
Exactly. I felt really strongly recently that I need to say the names. Like, I need to say Sarah's name. I need to say Magdalene. When I'm talking about, when people ask me about my life, or it gets a bit deeper about what I do, because before I wanted to kind of hide that, that this is the energies that I'm called to, or this is what I'm passionate about, or where I spend my heart, my love, my time. And now it's, no, enough. It's time to be who you are, and to share what you love. And I'm just done being afraid of saying their names. And it means, and then again, it activates things in other people, and that's what it's about. So it's not about me anymore. It's about sharing these energies and letting them go where they need to go, into the hearts of others.
Oh, well, I do think that's really brave of you, and I really commend you for that. And I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine that being gay, you've had to be brave so much already anyway, that you've built your brave muscles up.
It's so funny. So what oftentimes when I'm in the inner realms and I'm hanging out with Isis and Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Sarah, I'm in a priestess's body, and they're referring to me as a priestess. I'm like, but what's going on? I'm in a man's body. And they're like, yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever. Listen, we need this from this perspective right now. That's why you agreed to be in this body with this orientation, because we need that perspective. That's where you're coming from. Because I'm like, why am I always in the inner realms just one of your high priestesses? Why am I not that in the physical? Like, no, this is what it's about, and this is where we're going. We're going towards that unity. The polarity, the understanding, the working with the polarities is changing, and that's what Sarah, of course, represents to us, and this unity. And we talked about this on our last conversation, but that's where we're headed, and I know that's part of the frequency that I hold for others, and what I'm healing in myself, and I also chose an extremely religious and loving evangelical upbringing, so that too has given me a lot of things to unfold and things to love about myself and my community I grew up in and the family I grew up with, and it's all perfect. It's all perfect.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that was so important to me to put that into the book, that Sarah is like non-gender, non-binary, whatever way you want to describe it. And someone wrote a comment in the Sarah Temple group last night. I can't remember the sentence, but they refer to her as his, her, with the two pronouns, and I loved it. I do because my dad, he was a cross-dresser, but it was a secret. It was a big secret. I'm telling all my family secrets. It was a big secret in the family, and my mum actually divorced him because of it.
Wow.
And when she told me, so I must have been about 22, 23, I laughed because my dad, he was always reading books on guns and making little toy tanks and, really presenting with this very, very, sort of stereotyped male image. And when I laughed, she was so cross with me. She was like, can't laugh. It's not a laughing matter. And, she was really, really upset. And I could see why she was upset that she didn't know about it and she'd been married to him all those years. But I never felt that level of upsetness about it. And when we had his funeral, because again I was up in because I moved away from Deal a long time before, and like my brothers and sister arranged the funeral, and when we had the funeral, I said, it's so sad that none of his friends came, because he had all these friends and they would have like little parties and wear all the clothes that they wanted to wear. And I said, I'm so sad they didn't come. I wonder who they were. I never got to meet them. And because I did find my dad very hard to connect with, precisely because he had this very strong masculine sort of image, and he used to drink a lot as well. But I think I would have got on much better with, my dad's name was Ken. Let's say I would have got on much better with Kennette than I did with Ken. I think we would have really hit it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the whole, truly, I feel like gender, I think it's Matthias de Stefano that said gender is, it's a mammal's perspective of, polarity, and that really in the upper realms that doesn't exist. So while it's not something we need to like unlearn, it's something we need to play with and respect and allow everyone to truly decide how they want to be and how they want to express themselves. And at the end of the day, it's just, we're just dressed. It's all drag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul says,
yeah,
we're born naked and the rest is drag. And so I think it's so exciting now that we're able to be there's more freedom to express ourselves this way. And I'm always trying to challenge myself to how can I present myself in a way that feels more me? How can it be more fun? And also the spirituality in beauty, the whole beauty way idea. I think that is something to embody, but also to be okay when it's just all gone to shit and you just need to, all of it. It's all good.
Yeah. And that's it. It's like something in my soul loves the freedom of it, because I find very rigid cultural stereotypes just so suffocating, whether it's male or female or works, whatever stereotype. I just and so and Sarah has that energy. She's the wild woman. She's the wild maiden. She's like running around, sticking her fingers up at everybody, going fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. I mean, that could just be me, but I definitely get that. I definitely get that from her and love that about her. Yeah.
Me too. And I love that in all of us. More of that from all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, it's been great. It's been great talking about all of this.
Yes, this has been a joy. And I would love before we end to just to do a little Sarah toning for everyone.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Is this a good time? Should we do it now?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay. So I have received over the years like little song beings that are connected to her, little frequencies. And this one that I think that's going to come through, sometimes I set an intention for one to come through and then it goes somewhere else. But this one, I have ones that I really feel like lullabies that she received from her parents. And so this one always feels connected to her and Yeshua. But we'll see what happens. But this is, anyway, this is her. This is for her and for all of us. Let's see if I can do this. I haven't warmed up today, so literally we'll just be gentle.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and thank you for building this community for all of us to to connect.
Yeah. And, it was really wonderful to talk about your experiences that you've been having. And I'm sure lots of people listening will have also been able to tap in to those energies and activations as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that, Jeremiah. And yes, thank you to everyone who's listening. And please, come and see us on Facebook. I've got 2 Sarah groups. The easy one, I got an Ascended Master Sarah page. That's easy to find. And then there's Sarah's Sacred Healing Circle, because we've got a whole healing system around her. And then there's Sarah's Temple of the Sacred Flame, which is, more about the sort of sacred temple side of her. But please come and pop in and see us. And Jeremiah, you've got some pages as well, haven't you?
Yes. So in this form, I am an Arco-Iris, and so my Instagram and Facebook pages are I am Arco-Iris Music, and I am offering some live sound healings here in the Sacramento area of California, and then I'm also starting to do private sessions, which include sound healing and energy work, and I'm calling them Arco-Iris healings, and Arco-Iris means rainbow. So I really love to include all the frequencies of sound and light, and yes, so please reach out and get in touch, and would love to connect with any of you.
And maybe one day, me and Jeremiah have our own chat show.
Right, that's right. Lord, absolutely. What, 2 Leos together? It can't get any better.
Oh God, yeah, that's true, isn't it? Oh, bye everybody. Have a great time. Bye. Bye.
Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Kuhia o kaunaia a kahapu ke momoni nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili ko haloaia. Hea ke kaula lo piana he kopu kapaliliai. Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puakukui. Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Kuhia o kaunaia a kahapu kumamoni nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili ko holuaia. Hea ke kaula lo piana e kopu kapaliliai. Haina mai kapuana e kahaliko puakukui. Auheia valeana oe e kahaliko puakukui. Kuhia o kaunaia a kahapu ke momoni nei. Piko I kahimanao I kahapili ko haloaia. Ia ke kaula lo pihana he kopu ka palili ai. Haina mai ka puana e ka haliko pua kukui. He noa no na ka ui